Morning everyone, welcome to another edition of Rivera Urban Homestead. Today we're going to look at some of the good and bad things going on in the garden. The 50-cent little flowers I bought on the discount rack over at the Lowe's. I'm going to show you how they're doing. Just take a quick little look. I want to show you my tomato plants that are not doing that great. Not sure what's going on with them, but we'll just kind of review what's happening and take a little walk around. Okay, so let's start on a good note, and that is looking at all the flowers that I planted in this perimeter of this bean raised bed. They're all starting to flower now. I really like these. I just saw these this morning. Those look awesome. Just a nice like purplish, really cool. This guy hasn't flowered yet, but he is getting buds on it. And then those little white ones, those are pretty cool. Those are pretty nice too. These just bloomed today, I believe. Those are cool. They almost look like marigolds. Maybe it is. I'm not quite sure. This one's doing really good. He's like spreading out. And again, nice yellow flowers on there. Another purple one. That one had flowers and they have since died, so I'm sure it'll flower again. And then that guy. So all in all, the 50-cent discounted flowers are all jumped back, looking good, and really adding some nice color to the side of the house here. I like it. And while we're here, one of the bean plants that actually made it, I planted so many beans of this variety you saw in a previous video, and I didn't get a lot of germination, and some of it that I did get got eaten up like really quick. But this guy survived, and he is climbing up the trellis that is about a, I don't know, I'd say 7-foot tall trellis going down on the side. So he's definitely enjoying this trellis. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw more seeds of this same kind in the respected areas and try and get a better germination rate this time. But some of my other beans, not growing as quickly as that guy down there, but they're moving along. And that's actually a sunflower that I planted. I planted one sunflower there and one there. I think the wind we had the other day just ripped these to shreds. But anyway, so the flowers are looking good, and a couple of the bean plants are looking well. While I'm on the side of the house, compost is in full production. I just turned this one again. I like to turn my compost on the weekends and then I wet it down. It just helps it along, speeds up the process. So that one is pretty much finished. And this one is not. I'm still adding food scraps to the center of it. What I'll do is I'll grab my pitchfork, take the top off it, throw all my food scraps in there, put the top back on, and then I'll let it sit for about a week or two, and then I'll turn it, and then I'll do the same process. So yeah, 2 nice piles going. So we will have compost to add to the beds shortly. Just some more flowers that are growing on the side of the house. Just kind of wild, but very nice, and they really attract the bees. Also, you saw behind me earlier, oh, hi Daisy. Hi babies. Earlier you saw this vining. This is just a vining plant that just covers my fence over here. Let me go over here. I'm trying not to shake too much. But look along the whole chain link fence on the side of our house. It's nothing but a natural living wall. It's the same fence as this, and I put these that extra fence up top there when I had chickens. I didn't want them jumping over to the neighbors. So that's what's up over there, and the vines and everything have just overtaken them. But I tell you what, they're beautiful flowers, and they attract a lot of pollinators. So And it's a nice living wall separating, our backyards. Obviously, I have done nothing to our future tree orchard yet. Ugh, that is a project we're going to get to, but just not today. And here, guys, you remember we planted this, we bought it along with the strawberries as a bare root, the goji berry bush. I haven't done an update yet. I'm trying to figure out where it is going to live, basically. I've put it in a couple of different locations. Some of the spots I put it in, it started to burn. It was too hot, too much sun. This spot right here, it seems to be doing pretty good. It's pretty stable. But obviously I can't plant it right here. But maybe somewhere, maybe closer by the house, maybe under the window. I don't know yet, but the goji berry bush is still rolling. Not looking too bad. So the 2 lavender plants that we planted last episode with the herbs, look at that. I don't know if it's going to focus in, but at the tips right there, we're getting little. My camera doesn't really like to focus in very close like that on little stuff. But anyway, as you can see, we're getting little flowers right there. Little flowers. It's awesome. So the lavender is starting to produce little blossoms and doing really well right there. I think they like that spot. All the herbs are doing well. I'm not going to go over them because we just went over them last weekend. I just happened to look over right now and see that. Oh, look at what I just saw too. Psst, 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 psst. Oh, look at that kitty. Chasing lizards. Hello, kitty. The neighbor's new kitten. Very cute. I haven't seen any residents yet in the little insect hotel. I do see in that end right there, there is a start of a spider web, so maybe a little funnel spider or something will move in there. Try and pick off insects. Our cucumbers are looking good, man. They're coming up. They're looking a little wilty right now in the heat. They just kind of do that to protect their leaves. They kind of shrivel up during the day to not get the total heat on their leaves. But yeah, they're looking pretty good. This one I picked out because it was too close to the other ones, but I didn't want to throw it away, so I just replanted it, and it's rolling nicely. So yeah, cucumbers, good to go. Strawberries, I had to put the bird netting up. So there's netting all around this. I saw a bird coming in here and eating some of my blackberries off my bush. But the strawberries are doing wonderful. Sending out a bunch of runners. You see the vines that come out and they make new plants. Sending out a bunch of runners, starting to fill it in a little. And just looking really good. Really good. We should hopefully have a good harvest of strawberries next year. Okay, so here's one of the tomato plants. I actually moved it from, it was further out in the yard. So this will get less sun here. But as you can see, not much vegetation. Everything has just been dying off on these tomato plants. Black tips on the leaves and then just dying. Kind of random throughout the plant. Not like from the top or from the bottom. So initially I was thinking fungus. But I could possibly be thinking these containers are just too small and they're drying out too much. Not quite sure. Okay, here's the other tomato plant. Again, just all the leaves that I've picked off because they were dead, and see how they're getting the black like tips on the ends. There's tomatoes on there, but they look terrible. I don't know what's going on. Leaves are just falling off, no green. Again, these are in pots too, but that's a pretty big pot, but maybe not big enough. Maybe that's the reason. This one has some green on it, some tomatoes, But the same scenario, all of the leaves that I've taken off have made the plants pretty bare. So not quite sure. If anyone has any suggestions, let me know. The ones that I have in my raised bed seem to be doing better. Again, they obviously have more dirt. Not this one though. This is the main plant out of my 2-in-1 plant. This one has lost a lot of leaves as well. So, I'm not sure. My tomato plants are not doing that great at the moment. Any suggestions, let me know. Comment down in the bottom, in the comments. I do have some tomatoes, I mean, I'm getting some production. Like there. The volunteer tomato plant has been doing really well. It's been giving me a lot of tomatoes, a lot of cherry tomatoes, and it's growing. It's about 8 foot tall now, I bet. Poblano plant is still kicking them out, man. See, that one's nice and green and lush, and it seems like as I go down the line, they get less and less. Like that one is looking a little bit worse. This pepper plant is looking even worse. It lost all its leaves. It's just now starting to get some back. And then this one is at the end. So like this would get the most sun. The poblano would get the least amount, maybe by an hour, half hour, something like that. But as you can see, as you go down, it looks like they get worse. So could it be not enough water? I thought I was watering plenty. I don't know. Next year I probably won't do tomato plants in like pots like this again. I'll just probably put them in the bed somewhere. Watermelon. Ooh, look at what I just noticed. I did not see that yet. We got a flower on our mini sugar baby watermelon plant. Nice. Hopefully we get some watermelons out of here, guys. That would be awesome. And what else do we have here? This is just a sunflower I planted. A couple of the Landreth bush bean plants right there. I gotta really work this bed. I'm gonna incorporate a bunch of that compost in it and probably plant some stuff in there. Again, tomato plants aren't doing too bad. These yellow gooseberries, if you guys want to plant a nice yellow cherry tomato, yellow gooseberry, that is so good. They are awesome. This little guy's doing pretty good. It's got a couple of nice clusters. Hishido bunching onions. Those are pretty yummy. My wife likes to use them quite a bit. Oh, you know what? I have shallots still in a bag that I need to plant. Maybe we'll do that here in a minute. And when I was at the garden center last weekend, I did find seed potatoes, so I grabbed a bag of the yellow Yukon Golds and threw them in there. I reincorporated a bunch more compost in there because, as you know, this is where we did our potatoes just a little bit ago. We harvested them a couple weeks ago. So now we are going to see if we can get a second crop. So hopefully those potatoes start coming up soon. Some flowers on the blackberry bush. Those are really cool looking flowers. Blackberry bush is kind of bare. It's getting some vegetation, but it's pretty bare. Might have to maybe think about doing some type of a fertilizer or something to it. I added a bunch of wood chips to the bottom where they're starting to root in, so maybe that'll help out. Definitely not lacking in the butterfly department. Oh, look, a butterfly fight. Alright guys, so after seeing that flower yesterday, I was looking a little closer.
Check it out. A little watermelon right there. And there's another one. There's about 5 or 6 on here that I saw. They're starting to come up. More flowers. More watermelons. Look at that little guy. Just a little tiny dude. Oh yes, watermelons are starting. Awesome. Alright, so just a recap. We just did a walk around the garden, man. It's going good. I don't mind. You know, I have some issues with the tomato plants, the pepper plants. They're kind of looking crappy, but I just made up 15 gallons of compost tea. I made 3 5-gallon buckets worth of compost tea last night. So this evening, after the sun goes down, I'm going to give everyone compost tea. I'm going to keep track of that tomato plant that's sitting there and just see if it does any better away from the sun. So as far as the length of time it's getting sun in that pot. I'm thinking those tomato plants are having issues because they're in pots that aren't big enough soil to keep them roots, you know, spread out like they want to be. I've never done them in pots before, and when I always put them in the beds or in the bigger 2 by 2 by 2 foot beds I have, they always do fine. So these aren't doing very good, but I think it's because of the pots. I mean, maybe not enough water, something like that. So we're going to keep trying to water them a little bit more. And that's about it. You know, everything's looking good. The watermelons are awesome. Seeing those little watermelons on there, that is so cool. So hopefully we get some watermelons going. And I'm going to plant those shallots. Those things you just plant about 4 to 6 inches apart, you know, about 1 inch deep. Throw them in there, call it good, and see what happens. What else do we got? That's about it, man. Happy Mother's Day to everyone, and we will talk to you next weekend. I'm not sure what I'm doing as far as a video next weekend, but it'll come to me throughout the week while I'm hanging out at work. So, y'all have a good day.